Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology update for October 14th through 21st, 2025. Well, we continue to be experiencing epic and very rare astrology. The energies of the universe asking us to be present with what's happening as we rebirth Earth and human consciousness. Today is a very important day with Venus moving over into the sign of Libra. Venus at 0 degrees of Libra is in exact opposition to Neptune at 0 degrees Aries. Neptune is retrograde and will be going back into the sign of Pisces and then returning to the sign of Aries at the end of January. And so it's almost like this energy of Venus moving into this opposition with Neptune, while Neptune's at that 0 degree Aries marker, the still point, the 0 point, because Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. And so hovering there at 0 degrees as Venus comes in to this exact opposition. That means Venus at 0 degrees Libra, holding the balance of the world, the divine feminine. And that if we're going to come into the Aries vision of the whole person, the I am, to have permission to move forward in the evolution of this consciousness, we need to reinstate the divine feminine in our lives and in our world. And that seems to translate into a beckoning, a calling of Mother Earth as a sentient being, as a representative, as the daughter of the Christ consciousness that is the divine feminine, Sophia consciousness, the wisdom embodied in this, the ground we walk upon. And then we know that she's told us that her body is our body. And so our body, and also the celestial bodies are her body as well. And so we're waking up to the mystery of being an incarnate, sentient soul, a child of Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is waking up to her power. You know, it's like we've talked about supernova souls landing home as who they really are for a multitude of reasons. We haven't been able to fully incarnate as in our bigger self into this body in this evolution. But it has been foretold and prophesied and destined that at some point the bigger parts of ourselves are going to land in this dimension right here, right now, as we fold all timelines into true time. And so this is a very different configuration, and Neptune represents this. Neptune represents that in-between place of the ruler of Pisces, the end of the zodiac. Pisces is a mutable water sign speaking to adjustments and changes, rebirth, the whole energy of this calendar year with the Chinese year of the snake. And so we're transforming at a rapid rate. And then in the beginning of February, we'll be moving into the year of the horse. The horse stands up as it's born on 4 legs, So we're in the place of the vulnerable transition, the vulnerable birth. And so know that it's okay to tend to your energy, to be with yourself, to be in that skin that's too tight, and also in the vulnerable new skin that leaves you susceptible to predators in your, so in your transformational state. So this is kind of what we're dealing with in this major year of transformation. The astrology of this year is so incredible, and it continues to play out through pretty much this whole chapter leads up to July of 2026, and we're in this epic saga. So what's happening right now is this activation of this Venus Air Trine Kite, with Venus opposite of Neptune, 0 degrees, Venus holding the balance, the divine feminine, saying, hey, can we come back to balance? Can we come back to harmony? It's interesting because part of the astrology right now says that we are entering a very dark time, because we've got Mercury and Mars and Black Moon Lilith all in Scorpio. We'll have the sun joining, and we are, and also we've got this incredibly tense square between Jupiter and Chiron. This is epic generational square, and Jupiter is in Cancer, still direct, and Chiron is retrograde in Aries. So these planets will meet in this square 3 times, and the first 2 times will happen in this year, 2025, and the third happens at the beginning of July. The 1st through the 3rd of July 2026, which is actually the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. It's so incredibly powerful that this final square leads us up to this Declaration of Independence for Earth. That Earth is now returned to the organic original vision, owners, and embodiment of the Mother herself. And we move forward from there with a restoration of the technologies and the history that's been stolen from us. So this is this crossroads that we're at. And in Neptune at 0 degrees Pisces says that we are literally imagining a new world. But we don't have to actually imagine it because we've already lived it and it's within us. So we have this blueprint within us, the original codes, the Gaia codes, because we were there as souls on some level, witnessing the original birth, the vision of what Earth as an ascension goddess wanted to become. And this is what's happening, is that the Earth is waking up. It's almost like the Earth is waking up out of a deep sleep, just like we all are, to her greater consciousness. She's like a teenager who is vulnerable, scared, powerful, creative, a rebellious, and it's like she's shaking off, all of the scales and the stories and the darkness of what Earth had to go through and what she was told she was, just like the feminine, told that she's a whore and a witch and whatever, needed to happen to erase the powerful female energy on Earth embodied in female bodies. But this is all the end of that old chapter. And yet we have this, the evidence of this is that Saturn is back in Pisces. And Saturn back in Pisces is an energy of like, ooh, back in the dungeons, the dark ages, because Saturn rules time and reality. So, but we know that Saturn was taken over and absconded. There was an infiltration in Atlantean time of the flesh eaters, you could call it, who are continually trying to take the beautiful things that Mother creates and destroy them. And so that was allowed to occur for a certain amount of time, but that is now coming to an end. And so everything in astrology says this. But what are we going to replace it with? So we have a bloom of the parasitic energies, of the bullying, of the power games, of the narcissists feeding upon humanity. It's forcing us to recognize where the energy comes from. I'm not talking about your energy, I am, but the energy of the universe, where does it come from? Is it really fossil fuels? Or is that just a form of energy? Because we're talking in massive activation and a releasing of pent up, repressed, held back, restrained creative forces in the earth realm. We are caretakers of creative forces. This is the whole teachings and the essence of Yeshua. The true teachings, what he brought, is the right use of energy. And so we stand for this, and we're stewards of the technologies that work with energies. We don't even know this, we don't even understand it, and yet we know we need to stand, and we know we need to take back what's ours, and we know that we walk in abundance, that supernova souls are incredibly gifted, in real wealth. And this is the turning of the tables. So the new world that's being created with Neptune at 0 degrees Aries is all of that. But now Neptune's going to go back into Pisces and meet up, or not meet up, but join Saturn in Pisces. So with Saturn and Neptune back in Pisces, it's not the time that we're actually moving forward in real actionable ways, at least in the greater, wider world, in the new creation manifest. It is about an internal new creation manifest in our own worlds, our own lives. And you can just kind of feel the energy shifting around this. So Neptune will goes to 29 degrees of Pisces on the 23rd of October. And that's a very powerful shift because going into Pisces with Saturn, it's like, okay, we're reimagining our laws and rules and reality of the Piscean age. And then we have to go into the delusions of the Piscean age and correct those in order to move into the Aquarian age, the new age, the golden age, the new Renaissance. So that is so incredibly powerful. The way that astrology is speaking to us right now and telling us the whole story of exactly what's happening. Now, this is the main message that's coming through from her right now, is that we must pay attention to astrology and also our own birth charts through this time because of the power of what's happening to recreate our world through this next period of time. Because, like I said, Neptune is going to go back into Aries on January 27th. And that is also very close to that Chinese New Year marker, the year of the horse, where we stand up on our feet. And so that is a very powerful energy. So it feels like from now, from where Neptune is going to go back into Pisces on October 23rd through the end of January, the next 3 months, it's basically like we're suspended in time. We're suspended in time. And where you put your energy, your vibration, your focus is what you're going to create 100%. So we have to be called in every moment that we're recreating our reality, and it might not look like it because it's darkest just before the dawn, and it's darkest in the birth canal where we are right now. So Venus for the last few days has been at the very end degrees of Virgo. This is such a powerful placement, a powerful energy. 2 days ago, Venus came into opposition with Saturn in Pisces. That also made this Air Trine Kite, but with Saturn. So it's kind of like, here we are trying to move into the new Renaissance, but Saturn has to go back. We have to go back and understand and figure out the Piscean age to release ourselves from it. So there's a dark chapter. This is a dark chapter for humanity. There's no avoiding it. But the astrology says that it's all harmonized because we also have this grand water trine. But we've had this whole year, 2025, of square after square of tension and intensity. And now there's this kind of interesting lull in that there's only one major square. And that one major square is Jupiter in Cancer and square to Chiron in Aries. And so Jupiter in Cancer is trying to expand us into connection to each other, to love, compassion, to nurturing, to the feminine, empowerment of the feminine arts. But you cannot do that, especially the water sign, Cancer, and all these water signs represented. We're really processing a lot of emotions. So it's kind of like everything that we're trying to heal or work on is requiring a lot of emotional release and cleansing and healing. That's kind of the message with this grand water trine. Like, if you show up, do the healing, and be present with the energies, then you are going to sail through this, right? You are in the eye of the storm with the storm keepers at the helm, on your ship, merrily along. Everything's just fine, She says, because the squares and oppositions, the tense transits in our reality, have to do with, they push us, they give us the impetus to change, and they happen to us regardless. you know. But the trines and the sextiles, this beautiful kite that we've got literally a, you know, just coming to the end of a water trine kite, moving into an air trine kite, and this beautiful, beautiful energy of this grand water trine that's just saying, hey, yeah, it's a complete shift in an unknown direction, but it can be harmonized if you stick with me in the middle way, the mother's way. You know, it's all about alignment. Because think about it, we've got all this information coming in around timelines and we're feeling it. Like, does it mean for supernova souls to put themselves back together and to incarnate who they are fully and completely? Is that like grabbing a hold of parts of ourselves that have been stuck on disparate timelines? Is this so-called past lives that are really parallel lifetimes where part of our soul is trapped and we're integrating all of these together? And no wonder we're so exhausted, because we've been existing on multiple timelines. And some of us time traveling, if you want to call it that. And also, but this time travel energy can kind of get you stuck. And it's kind of like soul abduction. So we have to use time travel maybe to go get back our souls. And that's why we've been so busy and so tired from the work we're doing on the astral plane. So let yourself have extra sleep and rest. It's okay. You know, like, listen to your body. If you're hungry, feed yourself. Feed yourself what your body craves. Just be gentle and, you know, trusting our body, listening to mother, understanding where mother means that she's going to tell us whatever we need to know, because she has the original codes. They were stolen from us or attempted to be. They're in our DNA, beginning to unlock. But in the meantime, she's got the whole freaking codes and intact. The original dream, you know? And so we can use this. And so the more you listen to your body and you know that your body is mother's body, and we're waking up, and the energy of connecting to Mother Earth as our mother and our body is basically about coming into our intuition. It's an awakening of the divine feminine within each human, starting to listen to our emotions and our intuition. And so then your body becomes a transceiver and a transmitter, and it will go into havoc if you're not listening to yourself, if you're not doing what's best in the moment, if you're giving your energy away and you're giving your power away. And so, or if you eat something that your body doesn't agree with, you know, it's going to tell you. And then if you eat something that's, you know, fresh enzymatic vegetables, fruits, and raw life force energies, fermented foods, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel alive. It's like we're just moving into this whole new paradigm. And so I guess this is coming up because Venus is just coming out of the very end degrees of Virgo. Opposite with Saturn there. The North Node over the last few months moved through the end of Pisces. We've had so much activity here with Neptune and Saturn hanging out at end degrees of Pisces, and now going back into the end degrees of Pisces. So Venus there up opposite at the end degrees of Virgo, after just crossing over the South Node. So this is like a destiny of the divine feminine to clean up the earth. And the feminine empowerment will clean up the earth. And so Venus at those end degrees of Virgo is kind of like this grief and overwhelm, regret, but also deep devotional desire, you know, to merge again with the earth, to be a part of the co-creation, right? That we all said, oh no, our power was misused, but we didn't misuse it. You know, that was the Atlantean catastrophe debacle, complete and total lie. We didn't misuse it. You know, so no wonder we're having trouble kind of adjusting to this, because the only way, she says, that we can drain the beast system is through the beast system itself and our electromagnetic field. So the electromagnetic field of Earth supposedly has been weakening, you know, and it kind of goes along with the technological, these advanced technologies that we don't know about and understand that are used against us as weapons and in our phones and in our computers and technology and the grid around us. So that seems to have the effect of gradually, and maybe that's the whole point. We think it's like about just radiating us, but are they trying to have the powers of the control forces wanting to destabilize and weaken Earth's electromagnetic field? Now, we have the power. It's only humans activated that can fill the electromagnetic field of Earth. This is what we're doing. We're breathing life into new Earth, you know? And it's almost like the old systems had to die, had to get starved of oxygen in order to be reborn into something much more beautiful and pure. And we're in this time, I know, supernova souls, you're feeling it like the tide going out in your life, so much going away. And yet, if you can sit with yourself in the moment and with nature and with Mother and feel the beautiful, blissful energies that are just showering into our world, and everyone around us and the whole matrix is trying to keep us from feeling these energies. They want us feeling bad, really, really bad. So if you find yourself feeling really, really bad, be like, what is there to really feel bad about? Because I can feel that we've won. And the final step is for us to stand and return the power to the people by activating our electromagnetic field, starving the beast system through reverse polarity, and feeding the electromagnetic field of Earth. So it's it's complicated, and yet very simple in that it all comes down to connection. Now, I think this is part of the energy of the sun. What we're going to be feeling here starting today is the sun coming in, the sun in Libra, coming into a square with Jupiter and an opposition with Chiron. So we're talking about this quintessential square that is the most important energy of the next 8-9 months, a birth, right? So you could start it with Neptune moving back into Pisces on October 23rd and going all the way through back into July. And this Jupiter square Chiron is like all of the squares we've been dealing with are focused on this square. And Chiron is our wounds, and in Aries, it's the wounds over where we've given our power, our life, where we've compromised our ideals, given our life force away, where we haven't stood up for people, we haven't stood up for humanity, we've given away the structures that truly support life, and now we're going to claim it all back. So, but Chiron is these wounds, and it's a righteousness, because Aries represents that I am, the quintessential potential for humanity to evolve. But the Earth was hijacked to try to prevent humanity from evolving so they could continue to feed on us. But we're at this point, we're at gridlock, right? There's no more moves left on the board, and we already know who wins. So stand down, you know? It's ours, it's our power, and we're stepping into it. So Jupiter square Chiron is a stand down. Humanity saying, we're human. You are machines, and you don't get to run our world. Mother Earth is ours, and we take her back right here, right now. And we're going to take all that energy you stole from us, and we're going to give it back into the mana, the heaven. Mana from heaven, this electromagnetic field. Strengthening it with every breath for ourselves and for Mother. Through our intention and our knowledge of the wisdom in our very own electromagnetic field, our aura, our light body, our energy field. And that's that Owning Your Energetic Field course, the most important information for supernova souls right now. There is the triggers to help you remember how to operate this technology in your body that you've already operated. And this technology allows you to be free right here, right now. It allows you to return the energy that's been stolen from you moment to moment. And maybe that's this turning point. We've been talking about it. Venus moving into Libra, lifting up this kite. And, you know, the kite, Air Trine Kite's a new renaissance. It's our abundance. It's our golden age. It's the divine feminine back intact, a perfect balance, a healed masculine, healed feminine, that perfect balance. Everything Libra, where she stands right now. And then Neptune and Aries, an open recreation. And that's maybe the most important message coming through from Mom right now, is that the only place we can create from and be that co-creator in this experience is from the place of that 0 point. That there's all these patterns. Everything is patterns held into place through geometry. You know, it's manifest form is a signature geometric frequency held into place. And so, but when there's already a signature, it's hard to go change the signature. Okay. It's much easier to go to a blank slate and create from that. And that's what you've been doing with all your prayers and meditations and your time and your love and your focus and your healing, is to bring it back to 0 point. And guess what? We're here. We made it. So don't spend one more minute feeling like depressed or in failure or regret or like stuck in unprocessed emotions. It doesn't fit where we're at astrologically. You're already in the birth canal and there's no time for that. So it's like living and breathing our new life with determination every moment through this next 3 months. Like, no, this is my new life. Everything around you is going to be like, oh, no, this is my new life. I'm living in vibrationally in my new life. You know, it's your life. No one can take it from you, but no one else can live it for you. No one else can give you permission. No one else can say stand up. No one else can actually really support you. And that's kind of maybe where supernova souls are at right now. You know, a lot of the grief is this, as much as we don't have time to be stuck in heavy emotions, the grief that's coming up is just, you know, these feelings of wishing that we could have done it better and stayed in connection with Mother Earth, you know, and deserving, you know, everything right now is knowing we deserve deep in our being, the abundance that's ours, because we'll never be able to take it back or handle it or feel worthy of it until we heal. So this is a lot of the emotions coming up is this, all this grief around our connection to planet Earth. And that's, of course, going back to that Jupiter in Cancer. And Jupiter says, let's expand, let's get over it. Let's come back into her loving arms. And maybe that's the whole energy of this 0 point or this place. Neptune at 0 degrees Aries is so close to 29 degrees Pisces, right? Like 0 degrees Aries is the conception, the spark of creation. 29 degrees Pisces is all possibilities. You know, so if you're going to have this spark, you got to bring it back to all possibilities. This is a neutral energy that is resonant with mother's love. And when you have that level or that vibrational frequency of you telling mother you love her so much, telling the animals, the plants, the rocks, you're telling your body and the waters of your body, the waters of the earth, that you love them so much, that is 0 point. That is a place that all can create from. That's why it's like you have to bring the body to calm and peace for actual true healing to take place. That's the 0 point, the blank slate. So this is what's required. The place we have gotten to up to this point is what's required for us to co-create our new reality and our new life and our new earth. But we already have, right? It's already created. We know this. We've already lived through this. We can see it and feel it. And so how do we claim it? And that's what this energy is with the sun coming into square with Jupiter and opposite Chiron. So Jupiter and Chiron, like we said, 3 squares between these big player planets around expanding back into love and healing the wounds of where we gave our energy away so we can open back up to the full potential of the human as an indicator of our future timeline and take back what was stolen, right? So that's the second part of October, second part of December, and like I said, the beginning of July. So we're heading into the very first of these, and this is with Jupiter direct and Chiron retrograde. And so we're coming into the reality of the wound, into the reality of the separation, because Jupiter in Cancer is like, come back to mother, it feels so good. But then it's like all the reasons why I don't feel worthy. So this is what's happening with Uranus about to move back into the sign of Taurus. All of our unworthiness, all of those programs, all the scarcity, the poverty, low self-worth at the end degrees of Pisces. Uranus is like, awaken out of that shit because you are so much more. You are a magical, mystical, highly evolved, technological creature, human soul in a body, mother's body, aware of itself as consciousness. So it's so intense. So that happens on the 9th of November. Uranus will move back into the sign of Taurus. And then we have to deal with the wealth. And it's really about reclaiming the true wealth, right? Because we know, this is a wealth revolution. We're not going forward with paper money with nothing to back it up. We're not going for fake Hollywood stars with nothing to back it up. We want substance. We want real people with real emotions, real dreams. We want real wealth, which is, if you distill it down, we all know this. When you're in that moment, you really need somebody hurting, on any level. It's the mother love. It's the care. It's the nurturing. It's the most precious commodity. The healing, the taking care. It's like, and so if the table's turning in our reality, means that a whole bunch of resources need to go into care in order to heal the damaging so-called care, which is actual genocide and control. So this is the turning of the tide, and yet we're kind of suspended in the turn, while Neptune and Saturn make their way into Pisces. And so we're going to use the end of Pisces to be like, hey, let's work it, because Saturn going back into Pisces is intense. But, and I know it's like, if you can think about that in the last couple months, in this last month, where like, okay, making the move back into Pisces, just kind of, back into that dungeon, the impossible, the going around in circles, and I don't know what I'm doing, and spiritual awakening, and yet everything's happening and nothing's happening, and my life is empty and full and blah, But now Saturn is coming into this grand water trine. And so that's why it's like, don't let the news, don't let any influencer or astrologer or anybody out there tell you that this is a gloom and doom time. It's only gloom and doom for the structures that need to be broken down, for the programming, the MK Ultra, the cult programming we're all under. Whoever's still in the cult programming, that it's dark. We've had many years to open up to new truths, or to new ideas and to wider truths. And so those percentage of people that have not been able to have their constructs break down, it is a dark time for them. That's Jupiter square Chiron. We got to take back our mother's resource, our mind, our consciousness, from mind control. And this is the energy, actually, of Mercury coming into a retrograde. We're already starting to feel another Mercury retrograde. I know. It's like, and that's why this next, we've got that all the way to July period of time. We've got to the end of January with Neptune going back into Aries. And this next couple of months through the end of the year is a chapter as well. And so much is happening. And but it's this beautiful, magical, miracle time where she says, hey, stick with me. You're going to be okay. Stick with me. Pay attention to the harmonious messages that are coming through the astrology. Grab a hold of the miracles. They're yours. Take them. Run with them. There's a dark movie playing out for those who need a dark movie. For those of us who have any glimmer of something beyond the matrix reality, it's our time to fly. And it's almost like maybe we're just levitating enough to remember with this kite that we know how to levitate and lift ourselves up out of anything. And maybe we're just kind of hovering there, right? Like, oh, okay, now what? How do we work the machine, the technology? How do we run our Merkaba light body? How do you fly that shit, you know? So we're figuring this all out. And so let yourself be in the energy of what you want to create, because it's just too magical of a time. And you're going to have to say to the people around you, look, this is too magical of a time for me to compromise my peace for your process. Go have your process. You know, I'm going to go have my process. It's a time to, I know we've been hermiting for years, but it's definitely a time to go within, protect yourself, because you are protected and you know this. But at the same time, you're feeling your protection more and more. But at the same time, there is still a very insidious bloom of these forces that are like sliming around, you know? And so it's just kind of like, contain it, present. It's a little squirrely. You don't know. It's like when things are unstable, they could go either which way. And so we're entering into this period of time, and that's this Mercury retrograde. Crazy that it happens in mutable signs, Sagittarius, in Scorpio, and back in a Scorpio fixed sign as well. But it's about kind of getting comfortable in the transcended state, the in-between state, the transformational state, like being okay. And that's that 0 point, right? That's the base level peace that all can be created from. So remember that everything in the astrology is just about reminding us of this, right? Like, yeah, we're going through the portal now. We're going through the birth canal. There's no turning back. We can't stop the momentum towards disclosure and truth and change in our world. But she says, you're with me and I'm with you. And all those planetary bodies are with us too, inside of us. And it gets, the main message is like, yeah, I mean, shit's got to break down. All hell's got to break loose on some level. And yet it can all be harmonized. So that's this energy. So let's look at this kite. So the Venus was triggering the air trine, the water trine kite, with that conjunction with the south node of the moon in Virgo, saying we got to clean up the earth. We got to bring the feminine into empowerment so we can clean up the earth. And that's our new timeline. That was from the 2nd of October to the 11th of October. And then from the 9th to the 17th is when we'll be feeling this air trine kite. So we've got a few more days of this Venus air trine kite as Venus is lifting up into this opposition with Neptune at 0 degrees Libra, Neptune at 0 degrees Aries. Now, it's interesting because there is evidence that there's all these different timelines, different calendars, like the Gregorian calendar, Julian calendar, and the Mayan calendar, all converge or cross or connect with a sacred calling this day, October 14th, a sacred day. And so it's powerful that astrology, validates this as well, that this is the rising of the feminine. And so is it okay for us to feel our feels, but feel generally lifted and held and loved and supported through this journey? It's ironic because it's like, well, once we have our money back and we change our systems and people are better care of, then we can feel better. No. oh gosh, it's so hard, and understanding the level of money, mechanisms, and technology, dark stuff going into making you feel bad because you're feeling good is such a threat, right? So we have to remember this. Coming back to this Jupiter square Chiron, whose energy is it? Where is it coming from? Where's the energy coming from for this world? We, as the children of Mother Earth, have direct access. Are stewards, and we must stand and make sure that all are held accountable in how they approach this energy, whether they treat it with reverence and respect, and whether they honor it, use it only for the supporting the evolution of creation, because we can't do it any other way now. So this is this place we're coming to, and the sun coming into the square, this is on the 18th. So it's like right after the Venus kite. Okay, so it's like the Venus kite's lifting up, we're hovering, and then the sun, this is who we think we are in Libra, saying we want harmony, we want balance, we want justice, we want to come together and work together. But maybe there's been an energy of the wounds of Chiron talk about where we've compromised ourselves. And Libra wants peace so bad that they'll compromise, right? The peace with a compromise is not peace, because it's never going to hold. And that's where we're at in the world right now. What does it mean to be a peacemaker? What does it mean to prioritize peace? Really? Because just like we're trying to figure out what these timelines are, and we're trying to figure out what this, this whole story is, like the timelines are a vibrational frequency. And so we're joining together vibrational frequencies of these disparate parts of who we are. And peace is a vibrational frequency. It's not words. It's not paper signed. It's not a putting down of weapons. It's peace, like that still point. This is the peace we need to claim. Not a temporary peace where it's just an excuse to get back into war, It's like, put down your weapons. They don't work in this world anymore. Put them down. It's a bullshit movie. There are higher forces at work. This is a spiritual thing that's happening. Put your weapons down. I mean, it's like a metaphorical thing that, we are more powerful. And that's what's really going on. So when Uranus makes it back into Gemini on the that's April 27th, the end of April, that's when we really can share and tell and show the world this hidden wealth. Okay, so what's going on with Uranus going back into Taurus is like hidden wealth being recovered. We are the hidden wealth. We are the ones who have been holding it down, and we are the ones who are going to do the final act of draining the system and refueling Mother's field together. It's what we're doing. And it's so beautiful. But so right after that kite, we're hovering there, and the sun, who we think we are in Libra, wanting justice, wanting peace, in square with Jupiter and opposite Chiron, so a T square. This is a cardinal T square. The cardinal signs are the instigators. So it's like, this is the instigation of peace. It's not peace at any cost. It's true, deep peace, right? Because so many of us have chosen peace over these last years while we're surrounded by parasitic, narcissist bullies, and we've had to choose peace. We've had to compromise our ideals in order to have peace. And this Jupiter square Chiron says, and Sun coming into it in a T square says, we're not going to compromise our peace, our ideals anymore. And maybe we want to talk about the return of hostages, because that's not really what's going on too. It is. But we're talking about the hostages, the souls that have been abducted, stolen, part of deep experiments, all of us that have been fractured through the incredible harm that's been done by these control-based systems with targeting and technologies. And so the hostages, we got this whole thing of like, well, we have the story of NPCs, and maybe we do have some synthetic, non-real humans around us. But mom says that to get an actual body, organic body, you had to have a soul to start with. So where is that soul? You know, because we've already evolved beyond the supernova souls. Like, we've gone through previous evolutions where we gave up our soul, had to fight for our soul, and we had to go through that again and replay it. But at this point, you are not going to be giving up your identity and your soul essence, you know, for even a minute, right? But there are souls, perhaps, that have been, their soul has been abducted, right? And is this the hostages that need to be returned? You know, and what does it look like for souls to be returned to their bodies? Are their bodies still viable? So we've got, it's just a very complicated situation, and everything that's playing out in the world has way, way, way bigger meaning. It's a movie, it's symbology, it's been playing out for a very long time. Do not get too emotionally attached to anything that's happening that is reported in the news or on media right now. Go to mom, get your weather report here, because I'm saying, and you know, that more and more peace is available in the moment as we come back into access of these creation energies on earth, and we reset the clock at that 0 point, which is pure peace, love, pure devotional love. It doesn't have a signature. It doesn't have a frequency vibration. It's the calming of the waters. And this is what you need to walk forward with and proclaim in the world. That's the mother's love, the calming of the waters. From that place, appropriate creation can happen. So it's a powerful energy, and maybe everything we've gone through was just to be able to be in that place right here, right now. So there's a strength growing within you as you land home, a confidence, a determination. And that is about alignment. It's about that mother's way. It's about the center way. It's about the center path. She knows, you know, all the people you are going to be with and work with, all the projects, absolutely alignment with that. So why don't we align and just focus on bringing our lives into that alignment with the prayers and meditations on that 0 point, on that pure and total love. That's just, you know, the vibration on the water stops and the love pours in, and whatever wants to be will be. This is the energy, the divine mandate, the intelligence in our cells, just like the signature of a plant, of a certain plant. You plant that seed, the signature, the vibrational signature says it's what it wants to be. It's going to be what it wants to be. But the oak tree doesn't go halfway through being an oak tree and be like, I think I'm going to try being a pine tree. So this is the power of the signature. But the signature is the creation. And so that's why plants are so stable, right? Because their signature is stable. Animals have a more fluid signature because they are feeling creatures, you know, and rocks also even more stable than plants. So we can use these different states and forms and to help us understand this evolution, the process that we're in from rock to mammal to consciousness, and that we as consciousness have the power to bring creation back to the 0 point, the blank slate, the womb, the primordial waters of creation, in order to reset back to what it originally wants to be, right? So this is the mandate of like structured water in our body, of the healing of primary water, miracles, is it's removing wastes and clearing the slate to invite, not to tell it what it wants, right? See, all this water research is all about us telling the water what we think it should think, you know? And we're not going to get anywhere until we start being with the water in connection and being in the peace of the primordial place of creation. And so that is, it seems what this next period of time is about. Like, okay, you talk about it, we know, you know, your creators, co-creators, but are you ready to step into co-creator status and actually do it and live it instead of being on the sidelines watching your life go by down some road that's just so off, you know? And all we have to do though, because mom says, be where you're at. She says, everything's unfolding perfectly. So until you can be where you're at, you can't get to that, what it wants to be, you know? So be where you're at. And the being where you're at brings it back into alignment. It's like, because this is what it feels like. It feels like we're establishing this higher frequency and then we're feeling that love, we're feeling that peace. And then it's like the next day, Chutes and Ladders, we're back down into this confusion and I can't think straight. And what are we even doing here? I think I'll just give up and go watch some TV. You know, I mean, it's just like, so understand we're in this place of like notching up our frequency, getting knocked down, and not realizing, you know, the mechanisms that have been used against us, but also the power of our electromagnetic field to support ourselves, protect ourselves, and even farm the energy back from the system. This is weird. I've been working with this technique a little bit, this idea of reverse polarity, like wherever, you know, we know the technology is literally hooking into our field and sucking our energy. So if you can siphon that down and you say, no, because we've gotten really good at protecting our field, right? It's like, no, I'm not going to feed it. I'm aware of it. I'm having autonomy in my field. It's like I'm cutting it off, Don't cut it off all the way because it gives you your ticket right back into all of the abundance that's available for you energetically. So it's like using the suction of the tightening it down, like the way they're cording into your field, and then just be aware of the if it's still there, but it's very, very restricted. And the power of that restriction can flip the polarity in your field and allow you to siphon back the energy that was just farmed from you. But it's interesting because you got to be like, wait, then your psyche says, can I handle this amount of energy? Am I stealing it from someone? Because the people around you, if they've been farming your energy and you try this, they'll get tired. Are you done being tired by being around everyone around you? Are you ready to own the massive abundance? You've been apologizing and playing small because you feel guilty for what you have and you can't do it anymore. So this whole thing of taking just the whole concept of thinking it through is quite an energetic shift for supernova souls, you know, like a guilt over taking back what's yours from the beast system that's like designed to just create evil and havoc on the world, in the world. Like, we shouldn't feel guilty, you know, but it's a delicate thing, right? Because it's like we want to get rid of the parasite but not kill the host. And so it's like we're in this process of disconnecting, and the people around you, you just showing up as who you are, is supporting them and disconnecting from the parasitic reality, you know? And so it feels like a lot of supernova souls are having situations where they're back or with around people that they felt that they put a boundary around, or that they said, no, I'm not going to do this, as far as like, but then you're called to show up and help. And it's a different dynamic. But it's really about showing you how powerful you are, the energy available to you, how to take it back, whether or not you feel worthy, capable, or like it's an okay thing to do. It feels morally wrong. Like, this is the message. This is the programming I found around this whole concept of us being able to use the technologies that have been used against us to get our energy back. And there's a deep guilt, um, you know, around taking back our energy like it's not ours. A shame and guilt. I mean, I know a lot of supernova souls grew up in narcissist situations in their families where it was like, you're not allowed to feel or want or need anything. And then if you do, we're going to take it from you. And we're going to, so it was like this whole energy of feeling worthy of what's yours, that you have been that chosen one, that golden light that has been a food source for your family and circle of karmic people over many lifetimes. And if you go and you take that bread back, that manna that you've been feeding the family with, they have a proprietary claim on that energy. So these are the contracts that are coming up right now, and we'll see what comes up. We've got the next event is a Libra new moon. Next lunation, Libra new moon, is happening on the 21st. So, but in the morning in Mountain Time, so we'll be doing that activation on the 20th, Monday, October 20th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, the Libra new moon activation. The information to sign up for that is below, and I hope you'll consider joining us. These activations are bringing together the information, the healing, the clearing, like what supernova souls need. It's everything. It's the information of the moment by tapping into the astrology of these sacred moments. And it's just such an honor to have you with me. So thank you so much for being part of the Supernova Soul Tribe. For $20 a month, you get into both of the activations, and they're $20 each, so it's half price. It's a great way to support this movement and be a part of it. Also, I have a couple really great classes, Owning Your Energetic Field and the Goddess Activation pre-recorded video courses you can do at your own pace. Very powerful information for supernova souls, and also a limited amount of individual sessions available. Also, if you'd like to just donate and appreciate these messages, this offering, this ad-free space, this devotional time and message, this offering of the gift economy. And so thank you so much. Any donation or support at this time would be greatly appreciated and so helpful for me and for the movement. So on the 18th is when we feel, and so we'll be feeling that basically starting this whole week. It'll peak out on the 18th, but the sun in Libra, we want balance. We want peace. Humanity wants peace. We have spoken. And then square Jupiter. How can you have peace if you don't come back to mother? If you're living in scarcity, they're going to continue to feed upon you and take advantage of you. How can you have peace if the sun opposite of Chiron in Aries, if you don't own, take back what's yours? How can we have peace? You can't. So this peace in the Middle East, can it hold? It's got to have the shift on a consciousness level, emotional level, financial level, systems level, all levels for it to really hold. So it's almost like a test in the water, to see, are we at peace? How much consciousness of peace do we really have? Or are we, as humans, because of the technology implanted in our body, at war with ourselves constantly? And there can be no peace in the Middle East, can there? So this is so huge, and it just feels like what the sun is saying as we come into this square with Jupiter opposition with Chiron. The sun making this transit, this square, this T-square, during the exact of square of Jupiter and Chiron is very, very powerful. An exact cardinal T-square at 18 degrees, that's 8 and 1 make 9, and that's a number of a completion. It's the end. We're not doing it this way anymore. Humans are standing up as who they are in their bigger potential and the potential for true, lasting peace in our hearts, So that will take us through the 21st, and that is going to be the energy of that Libra new moon. The Libra new moon is happening at the very end degrees of Libra, 28 degrees of Libra. And so again, we have this culmination energy of what is it going to take for us to compromise and have peace? So that is the sun and the moon together at the very end degrees of Libra. And what we'll also be feeling at that time is basically that what we're starting to feel right now is right after the sun makes that square, we've got Mercury approaching Venus in Scorpio. And so this is an energy bloom. Mars is our warrior. Mercury is our mind. Mercury is the art of war, right? So Mercury needs to inform our warrior to get him on the right path. Mercury is about to take a retrograde, and it's so powerful that Mercury comes into a conjunction with Mars just before moving into retrograde shadow. So, but first, before Mercury catches up to Mars, Mercury and Mars will make a trine with the north node of the moon. So Mars comes into trine with the north node of the moon on the 18th, same day as that cardinal T-square, saying the new direction we're going of humanity taking back their power and life force and peace is our destiny. Mars, our warrior, so we're facing the darkness in Scorpio in order to come into our true destiny. And so Mars trine the North Node on the 18th at 17 degrees. Mercury trine the North Node on the 19th at 17 degrees. And so 17, 18, 19. And so that's 8, 9, 10. Coming to the end and starting again something new and different. And so the North Node in Pisces is saying, of course, we're reworking the Piscean Age, but we have to reclaim the miracles and magic. The whole reason why all the persecutions happened is because of the miracles. What were the miracles? Healings. It all happened because of healing. So the miracles we have to reclaim is healing, which we need it, right? I mean, so you can't really receive a miracle unless you have a need for a miracle. And maybe that's our modern medical travesty. And this Saturn and back in Pisces and the North Node in Pisces reclaiming the miracles and the magic. So Mercury and Mars, the informing of the warrior with the art of war and the deep art of deception in order to overcome your deceivers. That's what's happening. This is the change where we go from defense to offense. And it's destiny, and it's about reclaiming the healing, the miracles, the magic, and resetting our whole timeline according to that. It's so exciting, and it's the only way it can go. So do not listen to the gloom and doom, to the black pill, to the mainstream news, to anybody that's telling you that it's the apocalypse, because the apocalypse says it means it's the removal of the veil so we can see clearly. And that's a good thing. And we need to be in this energy. Absolute hope, absolute excitement. Like, oh yeah, the wheel is turning in our favor now. You guys may not see it yet, but we are feeling it and we're ready to run with it. That's Mercury and Mars. In Scorpio, want to run with it, but it's a water wheel because we have so many emotions. We're so separate from mother and disconnected. So this is what we're healing. Because Jupiter is in square to Chiron, it's like so difficult. Chiron is just so difficult. Wounds. Oh, it's like the difficulty of the blocking energy of Saturn, but with woundedness, and yet we've got Jupiter also in this grand water trine. So it's like we're not buying it. Yes, it's hard because we can't keep going the way we're going because we're taking back our energy. It's like, okay, we had to be the whole no more. And now we say no more because we don't have any resources to keep doing it anymore, right? So then Mars trine the North Node, Mercury trine the North Node, and then on the 20th, they come together. Very powerful Mercury and Mars conjunction at 18, another 18 degrees of Scorpio. And so not too far out of that trine. And so it's saying the mastermind, meeting of the mastermind and the warrior, it's like the armies being informed of how to navigate the next battle, except that it's not a battle, it's a celebration. It's a triumphant returning of what's been stolen, a jubilee. And so now, because Mercury, now, so on the 21st, Mercury is going to head into retrograde shadow. So just know that we're like 1 week away from the next Mercury retrograde cycle, and we know that Mercury retrograde cycles slow everything down. But it's not such a stuck energy because we're doing such internal work. This retrograde of Mercury retrograde is going to happen in the signs of Sagittarius and Scorpio. So Mercury is going to retrograde back to 20 degrees of Scorpio and then turn direct on the November 30th. Retrograde on November 10th. So this is crazy because it's like Mercury and Mars meet up at 18 degrees, and then at 20 degrees is when he goes into shadow. So it's like the retrograde energy is all about getting the mastermind and the warrior on board. So it's a divine masculine healing, really, but also the curing and the healing of shadowy, hidden darkness with Scorpio involved. So Mercury's retrograde is so interesting in Scorpio, the last 10 degrees of the fixed signs. You're really going to be hit with this, and the first 6 degrees of the mutable signs, because Mercury goes to 6 degrees of Sag and turns backwards and goes back into Scorpio. So Mercury will move into Sagittarius on the 30th, right in time for Halloween, and then retrograde on the 11th of November and go back into Scorpio on the 20th of November and turn direct on the 30th of November, coming out of retrograde shadow, going back into Sag on the 12th of December and out of retrograde shadow on the 17th of December. So that means this next 2 months, of Mercury retrograde season is our adjustment time of the water trine Scorpio, clean up the darkness, and the Air Trine Kite, and to reorient our whole lives. Because what's happening with the Sagittarius, Mercury at the very beginning of Sagittarius is going to be trining up with the very beginning of Aries, and the end of Pisces. So Mercury retrograde from Sagittarius to Scorpio is basically moving our timeline from the Piscean Age to the rebirth into the Aquarian Age. And so there's something really important about the early degrees of Sagittarius that will be revealed to us, and those early degrees of all the fire signs being activated. Mercury's last retrograde was in the early degrees of Leo, or retrograded back to the 6-degree Leo marker. And so very powerful that now Mercury is retrograding back from 6 degrees of Sagittarius. So with this retrograde, it means that Mercury is going to have 3 conjunctions with Mars, 3 conjunctions with Black Moon Lilith, 3 trines with Jupiter, and trines with Saturn for that grand water trine. But the difficult transit, the most informing transit of this Mercury retrograde, will be Mercury opposite of Uranus. So Mercury in Scorpio, moving over into Sagittarius, and then on the 30th, that same day, coming into opposition with Uranus at 0 degrees of Gemini. And so that will be the very first hit of this Mercury opposite Uranus. And then Uranus is going to go back into Taurus. And so the second oppositions, those second 2 oppositions of Mercury with Uranus, will be from the sign of Scorpio and Taurus. And it's interesting because the first one's at 0 degrees, Sagittarius and Gemini, and then 29 degrees of Scorpio and Taurus, and then 28 degrees. The third and final opposition for this Mercury retrograde cycle will be December 11th. For that 28 degrees, that goes to the 14th, pretty much to that place where Mercury comes out of retrograde shadow. And so that's this 2-month chapter we're looking at with 3 oppositions. So pretty much almost the whole time of just a few days in between, a week or two, these transits, and we've got this from the end of October to the middle of December, feeling this energy of Mercury opposite Uranus. And so Mercury is the messenger, the information, our conceptual reality, and they're at the 0 degrees. First opposition is at 0 degrees, Sag, the very beginning of the quest, the understanding of the quest. And then Uranus at 0 degrees Gemini is the retrograde. So the blockage of the communication of the higher technologies. And so then when they meet again, Mercury in Scorpio, the dark secrets around our true wealth, with Uranus at the end of Taurus. And so that's very powerful. And that's going to be the ones that happen with Scorpio and Taurus will be feeling pretty much through the middle of November to the middle of December. So it's such a powerful time. November is this grand water trine because right now we've got Mercury and Mars coming together, and they're coming into the grand water trine with Black Moon Lilith. That is going to be from the 22nd to the beginning of November. So the last week of the month, we'll be feeling Mercury and Mars coming together on the 20th and then moving into this grand water trine. So our warrior and the mastermind together in Scorpio, trining up with Jupiter and Saturn. So part of the energy of the difficult squares of this year was Jupiter square Saturn back in June. And so now they've progressed to the point that they've come into trine. Jupiter and Saturn are timekeepers. In a water trine, I don't know, it just says rebirth, right? It says rebirth. And with the North Node involved in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces, this grand water trine has gone between the North Node, and then the North Node is kind of moving. It's at 17 degrees now, but the original trine here was with the North Node in Pisces, and now it's moving into a grand trine with Saturn in Pisces. And that Saturn in Pisces North Node, so we'll feel this grand water trine with Mars and Mercury, like I said, that last week of October really strongly. And then the whole month of November, we're feeling the grand water trine with Saturn. So this is Saturn in Pisces, the Jupiter in Cancer, and Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. And then one by one, our personal planets come up to trigger and activate Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. So the Mercury, that means Mercury will have 3 conjunctions with Black Moon Lilith, and Mars will meet up with Black Moon Lilith on the 26th and 27th of October. And so activating, putting a motor on the boat of that grand water trine. And now we'll feel that through the beginning of November. And then the whole month of November, we've got this beautiful grand water trine. And it's saying like, yeah, this is hard to go back into the dungeon. This is hard to stand up and take back our power. This is hard to overcome the mind control and find our true wealth and feel worthy and capable and not guilty for taking back what's ours. But it's all harmonized, and it's all about recreating the dream. So that water trine in November, it's crazy because we've got the exact Jupiter square Chiron in October, second part of October, and then Mercury Mars water trine, harmonizing that. And then we've got November, harmonized, beautiful water trine, and then Jupiter square Chiron comes back together at the end of December. So this water trine is harmonizing this. It's like, this is how we heal, we feel, we remember, we come back into connection, we face the darkness so that we can be reborn again into our new timeline in that original dream. Because Pisces holds that Eden energy of like the mother walking and creation, like growing up in her steps immediately, right? Created in her image like magic. And that's the energy that we're moving into. So Maybe it's helpful to be like, oh, there's that noise in the world and the trouble and the wars and the this and that. And it's like, that's Jupiter square Chiron. And then I want to focus on what's available for me with Jupiter trine Saturn, trine Black Moon Lilith. It says, the darkness has been so dark, we've had to run from it. But now the darkness isn't so dark because we're swirling around. We got the mastermind, we got our warrior, and we're swirling around and we're going to face the darkness, but harmonize it and smooth it and clear it and heal it and love that little girl, love that teenager, love that, that poor, the inner child, male or female, and overcome this and reborn. Give ourselves permission to be in that deep peace of where all creation can come from. The deep peace that everything is reset to what it originally wanted to be. And your life in the next 2 months is being reset to what it originally wants to be. It's okay, it's far away from it. It's okay that it's dramatic changes. It's all harmonized. So stick with that. Stick with Mother. Stick with the astrology. Stick with your body. And know that this is about the true return of peace, which is really our wealth in the world, isn't it? When people are not suffering, they're cared for. That's the peace we're looking for. And those that have been in control and stealing all our money, just creating more wars and destruction and pain and genocide and poisoning. And we're just not going to stand for it anymore. But it's not a battle. It's more like a dance and a spiral dance, rising to the next place as we go roundabout like that marble we were talking about, trying to make it through the holes, like bam, 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 bam. Oh. And this is kind of like one of our main messages for us right now is to surrender to where you're at, just be completely present with where you're at and land home. Accept and surrender the situation right now. Be open to the deep peace that brings the radical recreation, and hold the vibration of those possibilities in your field as much as possible, because timeline definition, it's a vibrational frequency. So we got to be careful not to get stuck in all these new age stories about what this means of timelines doing this and that and the other thing. It's like, no, this is a vibrational frequency, and the timeline I'm on is the way. It's the center of the toroidal field. All the other stuff can happen out there, but this is the place of peace and creation. True organic original creation and what it wants to be can unfold. So this is our opportunity here. So watch out for that Libra new moon next Monday, October 20th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. That activation, very powerful moments. And I really appreciate your support, your bravery, your getting over all the blocks that happen when we go to do these intense events. And just show up and be present, because your energy and presence live or on the replay is incredibly helpful to supernova souls and the whole consciousness. We're understanding now more and more the true wealth of supernova souls is that the work we've been doing has not been just for us. It is for the world, and its evidence is recorded, it's documented, and keep it up, okay? Because we're just at the tipping point, and we're teetering back and forth. And when you feel yourself teetering into that dungeon, remember the grand water trine. Go be with the water. Go love the water. Go tell it you love it. Tell your life you love it. Tell your life it's unfolding perfectly. Reprogram your reality. Take 10 minutes away from technology, connection with Mother Earth, nature, water, and breathe, and reset back to your vibration. Because most often our bad vibes right now and emotions, heaviness, we have a lot to process, but that moves through. If you're stuck, it might not be your own energies. It's just inflicted upon us with this technological poisoning. And, and we're like, it's okay, I'm transmuting for the collective. It's okay, And being a garbage can has only gotten us so far. And now we want back. We don't want to just clean up the messes that they keep creating, keep healing what they keep harming. No, it's a waste of our time and energy, and we will not have it anymore. It's our world, our way, and the mother wins. So bask in that glory and the victory that you are on the team, and come into that place of that middle way of the mother's work where all that's false is revealed from the powerful truth that you walk in, and all that's in need of healing is healed by the overflowing cup of the power of your love. Well, thank you so much for being you, and please enjoy to the most that you can this Venus Air Trine Kite, this idea of hovering above your old life, maybe not quite ready to lift up and shoot off in another direction because of what you'd be leaving behind, but still hovering above, getting perspective, not getting sucked in to those patterns, to the loops, to the distractions, but bringing your life back with absolute, solid, stable, confident determination that your life is your life. No one else is going to come along and give it to you or save you from that other life or give you permission or lift you up. You have to lift yourself up, and that's maybe the energy of this kite. Yeah, we're lifting up, but we're resistant to that lifting up. We're resistant to the surrender into this new life, and so that makes this next 3 months until Neptune moves back into Aries, getting comfortable with shooting off into a new direction. So time's moving really fast. Don't hold on to anything right now. As far as these emotions, these energies, and these events and all this stuff, just let it flow. It's like, oh, there's a new minute coming. It's a new hour coming. It's time's going so fast. We just do not have time to hold on to anything, and then we have to surrender to that grip of time and also find the deep peace of the moment, and trust that also the shifting and changes are occurring, because this feeling of like, oh, time's going so fast and yet nothing's happening. It's like we're just waiting for something and waiting, and why aren't you ready, and can't you be more ready? What can you do? Why aren't you working enough? Why aren't you figuring it out? Why aren't you finding your people? Why aren't you getting on your tasks? Why aren't you doing more every day? And it's like, why? What's the point of doing anything? I'm just stuck outside of time. I've been abducted. I'm like, this is strange reality, matrix reality. Like, why put any effort into anything besides meditation at this point? Because everything, all the work and hard work we've done, you think would pay off in this world, has left us with less than nothing. And so maybe that's part of the place we're at right now, is a release from the responsibility of carrying humanity, like we're not leaving anybody behind. And yes, we've been helping so much, but at the same time, it's like we can't let guilt keep us from moving forward, that feeling of like leaving people behind. And it might be that is so much of what's going on, more than we realize. And so we're going to be, maybe that's this glitch in the lifting up and kind of going in a new direction, taking as many souls as we can with us and immediately into the new paradigm. It's not that we're leaving them behind. They just might take more time to get into the new paradigm. But as many as we can just lift up and take with us, it's fine. But there's something around the karmic energy of responsibility to the earth, that you're here to sacrifice and save. It feels like so much of like, this is where that guilt and grief is coming up, because it's kind of like surrender. Like, you've done what you can do, like align, but breathe, but like put down what you're carrying. Atlas is coming, it's not about carrying the weight of the world. It's lifting it up into a new reality. And who knew Atlas was a chick? Because it's Venus who's lifting up this kite. And also that Jupiter Chiron square, like a can opener, prying up the kite. So our lift comes from healing, where we've given our energy away, taking it back, and opening up to reconnecting with Mother's love. And so here we go. We're lifting up all of the heaviness that we've been carrying. And there's this might come up in the activation, we'll see, but it's a very interesting, tricky, subtle thing here that we might want to pay attention to, because I'm kind of feeling it as we're talking it through. We've all done so much work on this, like responsibility and karmic responsibilities and clearing contracts and ties, but still we're having trouble fully healing our wound of separation with the earth. And so it feels like this energy that we are taking back something that's not ours to have. And so we're examining this. And we're examining whether it's okay to put down the burdens. Like, who are we without our burdens? Without our, I'm going to save the earth. And, it's noble and beautiful and we did it. But maybe there's a karmic adjustment where, we are correcting where we interfered beyond where we were supposed to interfere, karmically, because of the prime directive that we all have to do it ourselves, right? Like that, to help people evolve, it's a non-interference, right? And so this is the energy of our universe. And perhaps this is our final test and task and understanding, is like healing where we have codependently, as supernova souls, taken on the garbage and some great quest, to heal the earth, which it is, but the burden of it, the responsibility of it, the failure of it, that you have to put down, and it's going to be an adjustment with your day-to-day thinking. Because maybe part of our peace hasn't been able to come from I just needs to feel better. And then I can feel better and I don't feel so guilty about not helping people and helping the earth, And so we have to kind of be like, go ahead and feel what you feel and surrender to what's happening and surrender all the burdens that you carry, that it's about putting down the burdens so we can lift up. And the responsibilities towards earth and feeling of failures towards this evolution. It's like, a lot of us maybe feel subtle anxiety, like until we feel a shift and see a shift in the world, in our governments and things like that, then we're going to continue to feel responsible and guilty and like we can't rest and we got to do more work and we got to figure more things out. But it's like we already did the work in other lifetimes on other levels, in this lifetime too. So of course we all are doing this deep shadow healing of what's left, the mirroring of what's deep in our subconscious to help us move into this abundance. And one of the shadow pieces might be the least expected, is where you're giver and a server, but where you were willing to compromise your own energy for the whole, for the collective, for Earth, but you compromised your ideals by doing that. You compromised whole Earth. New Earth is whole Earth, by, so it's a deep mystery. Let me know what you think about it. But I think pretty much all supernova souls feel that they carry a burden of a responsibility towards Earth. This is what comes with being an Earth steward, and so it's like, until we know she's free and we can't really relax, but we got to relax. We got to find that deep peace in order for those original codes to be able to be activated. And so it's a massive surrender to any way you thought it might be, surrender of any attachments, surrender of like anything you thought you might be able to accomplish, and a surrender of the responsibilities and the burdens that we carry, because we can't take it with us. Atlas is showing us that it's time to lift up into a new reality. So hover there for a minute, heal, rest, grieve, cry, support yourself with whatever you can do to maintain that beautiful frequency of peace, so that primordial place of creation can be birthed in your heart, and new world, new earth can be birthed in your life. Thank you so much for all you're doing, even if it is just a surrender right now and a saying, I'm not done, I'm done. Almost any energy towards healing or correcting is actually creating more of the needing to heal and correct. It's kind of like just neutral, zen. Got to go to the calm waters, got to go to the primordial waters, got to go to Gaia's cave and just be there, right? And not let your peace be affected and not let any story sway you from your moment to moment, mutual reciprocity, blissful relationship with the new energies that are coming through Mother Earth's body and your body. The manna from heaven has arrived, and this bread is yours. And you shared it because you felt guilty. And the only way we can go forward now is if you take yourself back and put yourself together in wholeness. The only way you can share is if you put yourself back together. No more cutting up yourself into pieces of a pie. You know, we need the whole pie in order to transform into the next possibility. So pull all of your energy back from any responsibility that's making you feel heavy and give it to Mother, give it to Earth, give it to yourself, give it to the people around you, the animals, the trees that can receive it. Don't offer any more information, healing, comfort, or love to those that can't receive it. That's not the Mother's way. She stays silent and at peace, and she offers it energetically for those who can receive. Otherwise, it comes back around into her. She's a toroidal field. It's so powerful, our understanding of these technologies that are coming. And that's that Uranus going back into Taurus too. Reclaiming our wealth is reclaiming these technologies. And then the sharing with the technologies can come when Uranus, a true sharing with the wider public, as Uranus moves back into the sign of Gemini. And we are the sharing. We are going on tour. We're going to show the world what we're talking about, demonstrate the demonstration project of a whole different way of being. The technologies that have been hidden and stolen from us on all levels, demonstrated through a community gathering event, ascension tour, modern day medicine show. Are you on board? So it's beautiful that we are bestowed with these blessings and this wealth and these gifts that we've earned over many lifetimes. You rejecting your own gifts is not going to make them go away. Are we being rejected in our gifts because we've been rejecting our own gifts? So this is everything we're facing in this next few months as the planetary play journey continues on this great adventure. So I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you so much for being with me and for being a supernova soul, going through all you've gone through, sacrificing all you have. And now, sacrifice means cutting, and separating. Sacrifice goes with the illusion of separation. We're not going to do it anymore. So put yourself all back together like that beautiful pool of calm water that's completely autonomous and in love. It could take on any form, but immediately resets back to the primordial potential. And that's us. And we walk in it, and we walk in her love. And I'll meet you there. And I hope to see you at that Libra new moon activation on Monday, October 20th, or the next update. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.